Hi guys, girls out there in Brakeland, Volkswagen Brakeland. Yeah, I've got a kind of a weird situation here. I can show you guys some details here. So, this is our cool stop brakes. You know, you guys are familiar with them. You know, pretty big brake and stuff. This is one of the basic aftermarket brakes that are out in the market. Okay. So before we get to ours, we're going to move this over here a little bit and take kind of a closer look at this thing. You see, in here there's a gap. That's because this rotor is actually concave. It's gotten so hot from being a single thickness rotor that it's actually concave. You can see it rocking because it's warped that bad. Okay. So what happens here is what a lot of guys do is these different people that want to make performance brakes for Volkswagens, they go for these inexpensive rotors to make, which is basically it's a laser cut piece of steel and water jetted or whatever, and they make it look trick, and they try to do all this to get it to cool better. But the problem is just not enough material to put a 4-piston caliper on, and that's what they've done here. This had a 4-piston caliper bolted onto it, and it's got 5 mounting holes, and it seems like it'd be able to grow a little bit. That's why they do these notches, so it can grow and shrink and still be round. But they warp, and so that creates this thing moving around and starts moving your brake pads back and forth and taking away all the grease and stuff, and basically it ends up squeaking. You end up having a bunch of squeak, and they say chamfer the pads, or I've even heard from some of the manufacturers, well, loosen these bolts and tighten them up in a star formation and see if that straightens it out. If that doesn't, then remember which one you started on, mark that one, start your star pattern from the next one, and if that doesn't work, then start from the next one, and then try it from the next one, and then try it. And so I've heard all this stuff before, and it's just, the bottom line is this rotor is not capable of taking the amount of heat that a 4-piston caliper will give to it. When you step on your brakes, these things get hot. You look at race cars when they're coming into a corner, and these rotors are glowing red, and sometimes they're different materials in this. This is about the least expensive way to make a rotor right here, and that's what they've done is they've made these rotors and they've made them inexpensive. They're super thin and lightweight, and for the average Volkswagen that might not make it past 80 miles an hour, this will probably work. But over a period of time, you're going to get squeaks. You're going to get a little bit of warp. This is severely warped. This car was, up close to 100 miles an hour, and the brakes got put on hard, and they couldn't stop. Basically, the brakes just started warping. There was so much heat that the car just couldn't stop. So that's why they're in here. So we're getting rid of those. We're putting on some other stuff. But to help explain this a little bit more, so this is one of our Cool Stop 11-inch front brakes, 11-inch rotors. This is a cross-drilled invented rotor, which is, get this off here real quick. So our hubs fit into the centers of these pretty tight. Let me just set this down for just a second, guys. Sorry about that. Of course, this doesn't want to come off very easy, so let me just put pause for a second. All right, so I got the the hub out finally. As you can tell, we make them pretty tight. We want them to be nice and centered, so that's the Cool Stop stuff there. So this is the difference. So this is our rotor, and just to give you an example of thickness here, there's our rotor, which is basically about a little over 1/4 inch in thickness, or excuse me, 3/4 inch in thickness, versus what we have here. So as you can see, this rotor barely equals one side of this rotor. So as you can see, it's warped. It's badly warped, and it just doesn't, it's not going to work. So with this rotor, with the cross-drilled venting allows these two sides to work independently and absorb heat independently, and then disperse the heat rather. And then the cross-drilled and venting, the cross-drilling is allowing the gas, if the brakes were to get really hot, it allows the gas to exit the pads and not hydroplane or float. The beveling here actually gives us even more surface area. So in comparison to and you can see the vanes in here also. So in comparison to this, we're dealing with basically the same size rotor, but a lot thicker and made of a lot better material. This is conventionally what brakes are made out of. They're not made of plate steel. This is actually, a casting made of certain materials. I won't get into the technical part of that for you, but basically this material acts differently with heat than this material does. This material over here just wants to grow and get bigger because it's just steel. You can tell when I drop that, you hear the ring from it, versus when I drop that, you don't get any type of ring. And the only thing you're hearing is that one ring. So if I move that over there and I drop this one, nothing but solid. So difference in material, difference in thickness. Cool Rides Customs, braking matters. It's the difference. So if you guys want to keep those beautiful VW investments, you know, running and keep them straight and off somebody else's rear bumper, Cool Stop brakes. That's really the way to go, guys. If you want to stop, you want to know you can stop every time, Cool Stop brakes. That's the way to go, baby. See you guys.